I'm Tom.
We are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. Tom, a couple of years ago, right when we were starting Velocities in Music, 3.5 years ago, right at the dawn of 2010, you know, the first decade of the 2000s had just ended, and there was one brand new genre, and in this day and age, with all the technology that's out right now, with all the music that's been created in modern music, the era of like the last 60 years since, you know, like Elvis Presley and the Beatles came to power, there have been a lot of genres that have come out. So
popping up every day.
Right, for a new genre to come out, it's kind of an odd thing nowadays. Chillwave was the thing in 2009. And as we reviewed a lot of bands in 2009, as we were going through that first, you know, getting our feet wet as music reviewers, we reviewed some chillwave albums. Then in 2011, an artist, a guy by the name of Ernest Greene, came onto the scene with his stage moniker Washed Out. His first album, Within and Without, Tom and I reviewed it a couple years ago. We actually liked it. More so than I think general public liked it.
I think we give it a low 80s score, which was actually significantly higher than the average critic rating, I would say.
Washed Out, what a great name for this guy's sound.
It perfectly describes it.
It does. It's all about layers upon layers upon layers, just vocals just dripping with just succulent reverb, lots of synths, a little bit of guitar here and there, but everything is just smooth and laid back. And that is the essence of chillwave. Now, in his first album, Within and Without, in 2011, he was all about a little bit more of the minor key. Things were a little bit more airy, not quite as full sounding. His new album in 2013, which we're going to review for you today, Paracosm, if that's how you say it, we suck at pronouncing things. Paracosm is a lot more atmospheric. It's a lot warmer in sound. It takes the chill out of chillwave. This is just wave. I don't know what else to call it. It's just a lot thicker of a sound. It's a lot more warm. It's a lot more friendly. It's atmospheric. Tom, what was your take on Paracosm?
I totally agree with that. It's interesting, though, how he's achieving that sound with the instrumental setup, because you still hear some guitars in here. You hear some kind of smooth funk-style bass lines. And it keeps the tracks moving. It keeps the tracks interesting. And like you said, it adds to that layered approach to the sound. But at the same time, I thought that this was a lot less beat-focused than Within and Without, and a lot more focused on the mood and the atmosphere. And that really just... It's an interesting approach, because I don't think it's inherently better or worse, but it's just about how you pull it off. And I think that he pulled it off really well here, particularly in the sense of album flow. I think that if you're going to make a moody album, you need to have the flow not be interrupted. Look at albums like Kid A, albums like Dark Side of the Moon. I think Dark Side of the Moon is probably the most stereotypical example of an album that flows. Yeah, because it's never interrupted. And this is kind of along those lines. You know, it's not like there's necessarily an underlying concept or theme, but what he's going for is a connected, fluid, and cohesive energy throughout this whole album.
And that warmth in the sound too, I think is really attractive. This is, I've read several reviews. Yes, I read reviews before we give this review, but I try to, we try to bring up original stuff, original ideas in our reviews. But one thing that I keep hearing about Paracosm is this warm, sunny day analogy. This is an album that you lay down in the grass and stare at the clouds to, and I kind of agree with that. I feel like that's a really good way of putting it. This album, it just brings back there's just a sense of nostalgia there. It's warm. It's all about just that feeling, and it's because Ernest Greene created this atmosphere. And it's all about how he produced it. I feel like the production is top notch. He just knew exactly how to produce this in a way that the reverb didn't go too over the top. I felt like his first album, Within and Without, kind of went over the top at times. It was clearly chillwave, trying to go for that chillwave sound, and you had a couple of hokey moments throughout the mix. Here, I don't feel like it ever gets hokey. In fact, I would say that there's only one real big problem with Paracosm that I hold Within and Without. Okay, I had to. It was right there. Paracosm has a tendency to get monotonous after a while, and I feel like it's because there's literally no change in the direction of the sound throughout. Pretty much after track 3, it's all the same after that. It's just the same idea regurgitated over and over again. Sounds great, really well done. Same idea. And when you take the back half of your album and make it devoid of any variety, it makes it makes it hard for the listener to keep plowing through, to keep focusing on the next track. Because if every track sounds the same, you dilute the power, then you dilute the impact of each subsequent track. This occurs not just in songs on a single album, but when artists release albums that are very similar in sound. If you look at Jack Johnson, if you look at Spoon, I mean, those are two bands that do
great
this.
Example,
These are two bands that do this all the time. Washed Out is kind of doing this within this album. Now, I would say that there's a big difference in sound between Within and Without and Paracosm, and I would prefer Paracosm's sound. However, if you compare Paracosm to Within and Without, I would prefer Within and Without's variety.
I totally agree. I think that Within and Without takes the cake for songwriting.
Yeah.
This album takes the cake for mood, general structure, and approach. And that's why I would actually have to say I like Within and Without a little bit better, because I'm a guy that I love the album structure, I love the album flow, but I also need tracks to latch onto. And Within and Without had a few tracks that really just hit it home for me. There's nothing here that really hits it home for me.
No, that's why you latched on to all my track picks. I see what you did there.
I saw it. Yeah, we picked the same track picks.
I'm just kidding. Sorry.
It just worked out that way. No, I agree. But even, also there was a track on here, I believe it was Falling Back, track 8, the second to last track, that gave me a huge U2 vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, I mean, it's interesting. He's taking some rock influence in there as well. I think that this is a sound that's an amalgamation of a lot of different things, but he's putting his own unique spin on it, and I think the sound is there. I think the songwriting could be a bit more powerful.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I think he's on his way. I think the approach is perfect. It's just, it didn't quite grasp me like it could have.
Understandable. I think it's definitely a maturation in sound.
Yeah.
And I love the albumization. I love the theme of the sound that he was trying to make.
Yeah.
A lot of things that Ernest Greene is doing as Washed Out. Yeah, I'm really happy with the sound. Tom, you made the comment before we turned off the camera that this is now the second album in a row we're going to grade higher than most other critics.
True.
We think that Washed Out is an underrated artist, and I'm going 83 on this one.
I'm going 79.
So, what's that, 81?
Yep.
81 from Velocities in Music, which means this is a must-listen album. You guys, if you're into chill wave or electronic music or just music that is just fun to listen to, warm and happy, go check out Paracosm by Washed Out. This is a great album. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. Also, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and let us know what albums from 2013 you'd like to see us review at VIMTV. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.